Mr. Rawail is in Australia because you have written a book about the godfather of the film industry in India, Raj Kapoor. So this is the reason why you've come to Australia, and we wanted to ask you a couple of questions, if you don't mind.
So I came in because of a friend, Vicky. I mean, he's the one who took the initiative of having me here with the book, which was a very, very promising thing to happen. And he's been a wonderful host over here, and we're having a great time with him. And I like his whole attitude towards cinema. I think we need people like this spread all over the world and looking up cinema the way he is.
Well, shout out to Richie. Thank you, Ricky. And so Rahul, if you could tell us, please, a little bit about the book and the inspiration behind the book about the legendary Raj Kapoor.
Okay, I worked as an assistant director with Mr. Raj Kapoor. My father was a filmmaker also. He was a well-known filmmaker. But when I passed my school, I wanted to do nuclear science, right? And I finished my schooling in December. And in September, I was supposed to go to Canada. I had admission in a school there for doing my undergraduation, but all focused on nuclear physics. It so happened that Rishi Kapoor, Chintu, was a childhood friend. We were in school from the time we were in the nursery. And so we grew up together as children. We had separate schools but also in touch. And then he called me up on a day in December. He said, "You just finished your exams." Because I was doing senior Cambridge. So he said, "Just finish your exams and Dad starts shooting the Russian circus portion today. So why don't you come across? It'll be fun. There's lots of nice, pretty Russian girls in very short clothes. And it will be interesting." And that's what we went to see. We both went to see those girls. But when we entered the set and I saw Mr. Raj Kapoor working, you see, films are not alien to me because I've seen them with my father. But when I saw Mr. Raj Kapoor working, I saw this one man who was more like a conductor of a symphony. He was one man handling a unit of 250 people, circus artists, about 300 of them, 100 Russian circus artists, and a crowd of 5,000 people. And there was this one man alone who knew what he was doing, and it was working like clockwork. And he knew exactly whom he wanted where. He would pick out small moments which went wrong. And those things inspired me, and I'm upset. I never saw the girls that are in the short clothes. But I came back the next day again to see the shooting. And I came every day for about a week. I never spoke to Raj Kapoor Sam. And then I told my father, I said, "I'm going to be here till September doing nothing. I might as well work with him for some time." So Dad went and spoke to him, and he said, "Yes, I've been noticing he's been here for the last 1 year. Hasn't spoken to me, but I'll be very happy if he comes here." And that's the way I got him.
So that's a little bit about perhaps your relationship with Mr. Kapoor.
Yeah.
What about the book itself? Tell us a little bit about the book.
Look, a lot of people have written books about Raj Kapoor. They've only spoken about Raj Kapoor and his life as a showman, his parties, and the way he lived. This book is titled Raj Kapoor, The Master at Work. It was done for this since I worked with him at such close quarters as assistant. I want to write a book about the man, of how he worked. What were the things in his work? Apart from his technique, his way of thinking, all the quirkiness which goes into a genius, which they all are, his love for food, how he got inspiration, and 4 films that I made which were all very successful, and he was alive then, how he influenced my work. And I met his wife before I did the book. So I told her, I said, Krishnanti, I'm going to write this book. And she actually said this. She said, look, you must do it because you're the only living person who was very close to my husband. And you know more about him, how he works, than I even know. So if you don't do it, this world will never understand what Raj Kapoor was. And so that, sentence inspired me a lot to it. Took me about 3 years to write. It was all from memory. I had nothing written down. And I had a girl with me called Panika Sharma who would sit with me over Zoom. I would narrate incidents to her. And then we start formulating it in chapters. And that's how the book came about. And that's how I'm here.
Thank you very much. And tell us, please, if you will, a bit about the times of Raj Kapoor, because the book obviously writes about a totally different era, totally different generation.
Yes, I joined him in '68 when he was into Mera Naam Joker, and I worked through with him for quite some time. The film which was I majorly worked in was Bobby, because by that time, when he came to Bobby, his assistants had all left him because his last film, Mera Naam Joker, was a complete disaster. And you know how people run away from the sunken ship, so they all left, and I was the only one left there. But that gave me a lot of experience and a lot of things to learn from him. And he was a very good teacher. He would go out of his way to explain things to you.
Yeah. Amazing, thank you. And perhaps one last question, if you could. What was it about Raj Kapoor, in your opinion, that made him so famous, so successful, and also what you liked about him the most?
See, he had great regard for his technicians, right? And he pampered his heroines always. Even Bobby, which was his own son, was launched as the hero, but the film was Dimple, who was the heroine. So his knowledge, a 360-degree knowledge of filmmaking, I don't think any other person has got. He had that in him. That was a built-in quality. Music, he could play any instrument in the world. All built in, never learnt it. He would compose his own music. And one sentence he told me, which I will not forget. He said, Rahul, I never heard a story or heard a song. I always saw a film, I saw a story, or I saw a song. But that is the way I decided what I wanted to do, if I could see that or not. I think that's the main thing for a filmmaker. And there's lots of anecdotes about his love for food and other things which I'll talk about tomorrow. I think so. That's he had a great sense of humor. He had no humor at all, if you ask me, but he would say things which are very humorous. But everything was centered around work. It all came to work. That was the main thing he.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. And speaking of love of food, plenty of food tonight.
Yeah, I know.
Welcome to Australia. We
Thank
hope
you so
enjoy
much.
your time here. Danyawad, shukriya.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we hope you have a great night.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you very much.